beautiful for spacious skies, for amber lands of grain. Alright. Boom. Boom. Da-da-da-da. We're live. We're live. Good. Good. Today, I'm drawing Dr. Peterson. Let me just center his head so I can draw it. It's not a profile pic. It actually is a side view. It is a profile. It's not a portrait. That's what I intended to say. But yeah, I'm going to play a clip from one of his lectures to explain kind of why I'm doing this.
Program. It has had a differential impact on men, and it's had a particularly differential impact on what I would call excluded men. And so that would be non-Western ethnic minority men, or what? Majority men who aren't doing very well. So for example, at Mohawk College, the Future Authoring Program had a particularly robust effect on Mohawk College students who were men who hadn't done very well in high school and who hadn't picked a major that had a destination, a career destination at its end. So you can imagine those people they have an ambiguous relationship with the idea of education, and they're not oriented specifically towards a goal. They're not very motivated. Now, why did it have a differential effect on men? That's a good question. Well, first of all, the women are doing better. So it might just be a matter of the fact that it does better for people who aren't doing as well, and at the moment, most of them are men. I think that might be part of it, but I don't believe that's all of it. I think that part of the reason that women are doing better is because they're agreeable. And so if a system sets out a structure and says, here's a pathway to attainment, the women won't rebel against that. They'll go along with it. And that's working very well for them at the moment. The men, especially the men on the disagreeable end of the distribution, and there's way more men on the disagreeable end of the distribution than there are women, right? That's what you get from, if you look at overlapping normal distributions. So there's the female distribution for agreeableness, male distribution for agreeableness. Tremendous overlap. Okay, women are higher. All the really agreeable people are women. All the really disagreeable people are men. And maybe the real differences occur at the extremes, right? And it's a very interesting side effect of overlapping distributions. So people can be mostly the same, but that can still produce radical differences. Disagreeable men won't do anything they don't want to do. They just say, up yours. I'll go home and play video games. I'm not listening to your stupid classes. And why should I work for you? I'll just go have fun. I'll do my own thing. I don't think they're motivated. And so then if you take the men who are like that and you say, okay, what do you want? You can have what you want, but you have to figure out what it is. So then they write down what they want and they think, oh, hey, well, that might be worth having, so maybe I'll put some effort into it. That's what it looks like to me. Now, that's weak evidence. And this is a weak argument. But I'm trying to stretch out my understanding to account for this. But I'll tell you something else that's really weird. I don't understand this either. So, more than 90% of the people who watch my videos on YouTube are men. Now that's weird because about 80% of psychology students are women. So that is not what you would expect. You'd expect that the majority of them would be women. And you might say, well, it's because of the political stance.
And I don't consider Marxists to be feminists. I consider them to be...
because I have that. Well, before I did any of the political videos, 85% of my viewers were men. So it's actually increased a bit by 6%. Not trivial, but it was still overwhelmingly men. So that was interesting. I thought, what the hell? Why is that exactly? And then now I've been watching crowds when I've been talking to them. And the crowds that have come to see me in person. This happened at the University of Toronto Free Speech debate. And I actually noticed it and commented on it before the debate took place because I was talking about intrinsic differences between men and women. And I looked around the room and I thought, 80% of the people in this room are men. So I had all the women stand up and then all the men stand up. I said, look, here's a natural experiment. For some reason, 80% of the people who showed up to this are men. Now, everybody thought I was kind of cracked to do that. And it was a risk, but I thought, no, there's something going on here. And then what's interesting now is that every public appearance that I've made that's related to the sort of topics that we're discussing is overwhelmingly men. It's like 85 to 90%. And so I thought, wow, that's weird. Like, what the hell's going on here exactly? And then the other thing I've noticed is that I've been talking a lot to the crowds that I've been talking to, not about rights, but about responsibility. Right? Because you can't have a conversation. What are you doing? You can't have the conversation about rights without the conversation about responsibility, because your rights are my responsibility. That's what they are, technically. So you just can't have only half of that discussion. And we're only having half that discussion. And the question is, well, what the hell are you leaving out if you only have that half of the discussion? And the answer is, well, you're leaving out responsibility. And then the question is, well, what are you leaving out if you're leaving out responsibility? And the answer might be, well, maybe you're leaving out the meaning of life. That's what it looks like to me. It's like, here you are, suffering away. What makes it worthwhile? Rights? You know, you're completely out. You have no idea what it's almost impossible to describe how bad an idea that is. Responsibility. That's what gives life meaning. It's like lift a load. Then you can tolerate yourself, right? Because look at, you're useless, easily hurt, easily killed. Why should you have any self-respect? That's the story of the fall. Pick something up and carry it. Make it heavy enough so that you can think, yeah, well, useless as I am, at least I could move that from there to there. Well, what's really cool about that is that when I talk to these men about this, the men's eyes light up. And that's very, like, I've seen that phenomenon because I've been talking about this mythological material for a long time, and I can see when I'm watching crowds, people, you know, their eyebrows lift, their eyes light up, because I put something together for them. And that's what mythological stories do. So I'm not taking responsibility for that. That's what the stories do. So I say the story and people go click, 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 you know, and their eyes light up. But this responsibility thing, that's a whole new order of this. Young men are so hungry for that, it is unbelievable. And one of the things I've been talking to some of the people who've been running for the Conservative leadership in Canada, and I've been talking to them about the difficulties they have communicating with young people, because the Conservatives, what the hell are they going to sell to young people, right? Because being conservative is something that happens when you're older. They can sell responsibility. No one's selling it. And the thing is, for men, there's nothing but responsibility. You know, I was watching The Simpsons the other day. I watched the first Simpsons episode, and I deconstructed it. And so it's really interesting. So what happens in the first Simpson episode is that it's Christmas, and Homer and Marge are going to buy some Christmas presents, but Homer doesn't get his Christmas bonus. And so he's absolutely crushed by that. And that actually is a recurring theme in The Simpsons, where Homer loses his job or something like that, or can't make enough money. He's completely crushed. Even though he's kind of useless, bumbling, laughing, fool of a guy, you know, the thing that gives that show its soul is that he's still oriented towards his family. That's what makes him honorable, is that foolish as he is, he's decided to adopt responsibility for his family and to try to bear that. And so he's a holy fool. He's not a complete fool. And it's so interesting watching the story because he suffers dreadfully as a consequence of not being able to fulfill his responsibility. Well, that's for men. Women have their sets of responsibilities.
Kind of looks like the Joker.
They're not the same, right? Because they're complicated. Because women, of course, have to take primary responsibility for having infants at least, but then also for caring for them. They're structured differently than men. For biological necessity, even if it's not a psychological issue, and it's also partly a psychological issue. Women know what they have to do. Men have to figure out what they have to do. And if they have nothing worth living for, then they stay Peter Pan. And why the hell not? Because the alternative to valued responsibility is impulsive, low-class pleasure. And you saw that in the Pinocchio. Pleasure Island. It's like, well, why lift the load if there's nothing in it for you? That's another thing that we're doing to men. That's a very bad idea. And to boys. It's like, you're pathological and oppressive. It's like, fine then, why the hell am I going to play? If that's the situation, if I get no credit for bearing responsibility, you could bloody well be sure I'm not going to bear any. But then, you know, your life is useless and meaningless, and you're full of self-contempt and nihilism, and that's not good. And so that's why that's what I think is going on at a deeper level with regards to men needing this direction. A man has to decide that he's going to do something. He has to decide that.
And with the imagery, you give a sort of a tangible thing to work toward. For example, the diagram from A to B, the sort of image to be selected.
Yeah, well, you know, partly what you're trying to do in the future authoring process is say, okay, well, what's the highest value? Right? It's the star. It's like, okay, what are you aiming for? You can decide, man. But, you know, there's some criteria. It should be good for you. It should be good for you in a way that facilitates you moving forward. Maybe it should be good for you in a way that's also good for the family and the community. It should cover the domain of life. I mean, there's constraints on what you should regard as a value. But within those constraints, you have the choice. You have choice. Well, the thing is that people will carry a heavy load if they get to pick the goddamn load. So, and they think, well, I won't carry any load. It's like, okay, fine, but then you're like the sled dog that doesn't have a sled to pull. You're gonna tear pieces out of your own legs because you're bored. You know, people are pack animals. They need to pull against a weight. And that's not true for everyone. It's not true particularly, say, for low conscientious people. I mean, maybe they're open and creative or extroverted and some other things. But for the typical person, they'll eat themselves up unless they have a load. This is why there's such an opiate epidemic among dispossessed white middle-aged guys who are unemployed in the U.S. It's like they lose their job, they're done, right? They despise themselves. They develop chronic pain syndromes and depression, and the chronic pain is treated with opiates. It's like that's what we're doing. So, yeah, that's what it looks like. You have to, and it's so interesting to watch the young men when you talk to them about responsibility. They're so goddamn thrilled about it. It just blows me away. It's like, really? That's the counterculture. Grow the hell up and do something useful. Really? I could do that? Oh, I'm so excited by that idea. No one ever mentioned that before. It's like rights, 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 rights. Jesus, it's appalling. And I feel that that's deeply felt by the people who are coming out to listen to these sorts of things too. They've had enough of that. So, and they better have, because it's a non-productive mode of being. Responsibility, man. That's where the meaning in life is. So.
His eyes are so sunken in this drawing, or in the photo,
Good.
actually.
One
So
more class, eh?
we're gonna have
See you next week.
a lot of fun. Yeah, I decided to open with that clip from a Dr. Jordan Peterson lecture. Kind of explain why I'm creating this channel is because I really have very little meaning in my life. Very little. When my family moved here, I didn't know any English. I was a Croatian war refugee back in 96, 97. Can't remember exactly. And because of that, I wasn't merely bullied. I was mobbed. I was attacked by groups of people. Just a big group of fucking kids. And it's always had an effect on me. It's always had this cursed effect on me where I was just too afraid to interact with groups for a long time. For a very long time. There's a period between graduating high school and when I reached the age of 22 where I wasn't employed. I wasn't going to college. I was doing nothing. I was self-destructive. And for a while it felt okay because I had like a core group of friends that I knew from high school. But I kind of realized that, man, everything needs to be at a different angle. I kind of realized that what I was ultimately doing was emotionally self-destructive. It was psychologically self-destructive, and accumulated on a day where it was raining that entire day, and while it was raining, I was crying. It was a horrible fucking day. But that horrible fucking day made me realize I had to save myself. And slowly but surely I was overcoming social anxiety and depression. And here I am today. Although I still haven't graduated college, and I probably should. And I still don't have absolute meaning the way I want to. I'm certainly on the right path. And running this channel to a certain extent is me just treading water where I need to tread water. And I gotta keep continuing working. Because if I don't, I'm going to feel like shit. Sorry about the last episode. I was just psychologically off it. I wasn't on it like the fucking brand. They are not my sponsor. If they can be my sponsor, that would be fucking awesome. I did yoga today at one of their yoga facilities here in town. Oh. And it was pretty good. Gave me a certain little ritualistic exercise. God, there's so much storage in this room. It's pretty pathetic. At least it's not a mess. It's just a bunch of boxes. But I gotta get rid of these boxes. Anyways. So yeah, Jordan Peterson. His work has influenced my life, but I'm still at the beginning stages of finding meaning, and I don't know why I'm doing it. I feel kind of useless still. But doing this helps me cope. Let's see if anyone's watching. Nope, just me and my drawing. Good. And thank you, I think I'm real, for subscribing. It's an honor. I do like your videos. Keep up the good work. I like that you make those videos frequently, and your insight's pretty interesting. You're definitely one of those, definitely more of a skeptical left-winger, and that's good to have. There's quite a bit of I don't know, right-wingism in the whole thing. But it kind of makes sense. It actually makes a lot of sense. The left is not challenging Islam. It is not challenging the most domineering rape culture on the planet. Like, how can you call yourself a feminist and not challenge Islam? It's just so disingenuous. And that's right, I just said it. Intersectional feminists who don't challenge Islam aren't real feminists. They just aren't. They completely ignore what's going on over there in favor of having this fake empathy towards the refugee population, who some of them aren't even refugees, some of them are just migrants, and it's sad. It's just sad. Can't really have like a full, good, clear thought conversation. I thought I could. I should probably have like a bulletin board, like just little punch cards with like 1 bullet, 2 bullet, 3 bullet, 4 bullet, and each one has a point, and each point just it's like a different thing that I can shoot around. Because I have ideas bouncing around my head all the fucking time, and it's really annoying. Sam Harris describes it as like having a conversation with the most boring person in the universe, and that is kind of how thinking works. It's so weird, but he's so truthful in that statement. Oh man, I feel like I need a fuck. Nah, just that much. Drawing does not look like him as much as I wanted to right now, but that's because it's only been how many minutes in? Yeah, 20 minutes. Yeah, I can get it to kind of look like him in due time, but right now it's I'm gonna have to do a little bit more work, be a little bit more diligent. But yeah, this dude gives me a sense of responsibility that it's only like him, Joe Rogan, and Jocko Willink that give me this sense of personal responsibility. This desire to be a better and more productive man. It's interesting because boyishness, as opposed to masculinity, has taken over so many men out there. So many men have just lost the plot of personal responsibility, and we have a state of denigration and self-destruction and suicide and suicidal thoughts and these weak attempted escapes by the manospherians who are jumping into this. A lot of it is a misogynistic extreme, a counter hatred towards the misandrist aspects of the feminist movement, and it's sad because it's just hate begetting more hate, and there just seems to be no fucking end to it. And I also see this within the context of racial identity with the alt-right, and it's terrifying. Like, for example, when after Dylan Roof killed 9 people, a black racist decided to kill 2 of his former co-workers, news broadcasters, a reporter and a cameraman, and in cold blood, and recorded it on his cell phone and had it live streamed on Twitter and Facebook. It was just awful. It was awful to see, and I hate this division that's going on. I hate this identitarian shit. It's just bad. It's just bad. I don't know what else I can fucking say. Like it's. I really do hope this world will become better. That we do return to the pluralistic society, the society that is also individualistic. You can't have pluralism without individualism. It just doesn't make any sense. Because pluralism is not collectivism. It's an understanding that there are multiple people with multiple different experiences. It's not this notion that Group A is in conflict with Group B and needs to do everything it can to overcome Group B. That shit's insane. That shit is like war rhetoric. And yes, sometimes wars are necessary, but not in the United States. Not in the United States, buckos. I'm going to continue to draw and continue to work. Man, I'm so hungry, but I got to keep doing this. At least until it looks like him. Got to keep working. Here, actually does go like down to here. His hairline is pretty wild. I also feel like Jordan Peterson is like if he wanted to be, he could totally be a fucking cult leader, like in a fucking heartbeat. And that's fucking creepy as all shit. And that is a pretty interesting self-admission to me as a fucking Peterson fan. Like I am a huge fan of his work. But I understand that he will never do that because it is absolutely unethical to do that. Like if Peterson was all like, fuck, I can't do that Kermit the Frog voice, but if he was just like, hey guys, let's go and go to the Jordan Peterson compound, I would be like, nope. Then again, if Sam Harris was all like, let's go to the spirituality without religion compound, I would be like, nope. And I'm not saying cultish thought isn't necessary, because the military is essentially supposed to be a cult of the government. It's like the cult that's like the most loyal to the government. That's their job, is to be loyal to the culture that we inhabit. And I respect the military. These are young men and women with a true sense of purpose that I don't even know if I have. And some of them lose their purpose, and it becomes tragic, especially when they're done with their deployments and their what the fuck's it called? Their contracts, I guess. They just lose meaning, and sometimes they fall in drug addiction, and it's sad. But fortunately for them, there are people in the veterans community that are helping them reestablish that meaning. But within the civ world, within the civilian world, people just look at people like me when I was a kid, or not a kid, me 5-6 years ago, me 10 years ago, and they just think like, look at this fucking lazy, useless cunt. He's not doing anything productive for society. Let's fucking let's go and attack his hobbies as misogyny or whatever. And it's fucking obnoxious. It really is. God, this is so boring. I wish I had music. But I don't know if I want to play music, because I don't have any rights to music. Like, if I had some music rights, if I had some copyright-free content, I would definitely have like something that can just play in a loop, something like video game sounding. That would be fantastic. But right now, I don't have those. So you're just gonna hear me talking in a quiet room for what is this, the 4th or 5th episode? Yeah, the 5th episode of my podcast. Is it a podcast? I don't know. It's a live stream. It's a live stream of 0 viewers. Woo. A live stream of me drawing like I'm Bob Ross or something, but I'm not Bob Ross. I'm Nikola Knežević. Dun dun dun, self-docs. It's starting to look like him more and more as I continue to draw this illustration. It's funny how the human brain just imagines certain things that looked correctly, and I think that's like the left brain. It's the left hemisphere works in symbols while the right hemisphere sees it like it is. And because I know I'm right-handed, I'm essentially drawing with my left brain. But it's okay. It's okay. I can re-educate this mind to be more right brain oriented, especially if I just continuously look at the image and then go back to the drawing. And that's what I'm doing right now. Man, he just looks so impassioned and angry in this photo. It was probably like the time when fucking Lauren Southern got punched in the face by that one person, and Smugly Puff was there. Smugly Puff is not okay in the head. None of those people are. I mean, they're impassionately angry over the idea that other people shouldn't have to call them what they want to be called. I mean, yeah, there's respect and dignity, but free speech is still sacred. It's a sacred fucking thing. Man, that line is far more straight than it gives itself out to be. Oh man. I think we're going to continue to see people like Peterson become more prominent, and also people like Jocko Willink, and in all honesty, Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is definitely going to become a greater and greater influencer of male youth, specifically male youth, as the days go by, as the years go by, because this type of rhetoric, this rhetoric of sort yourself out, bucko, is rhetoric that young men need. And it's not just young men, it's old men. It's men in general. It's also women in general. Women that don't have a sense of purpose, who are going through a nihilistic, a hedonistic celebration where they just want to be, I guess, female Peter Pans. They're gonna realize that they need to sort themselves out too. That looks like a Hitler mustache, but it's a shadow. Oh, Keck. Yeah, the way I shade is still still very based off of comic books and animation rather than trying to obtain some kind of realism. But that's how I shade, so go fuck yourself. But yeah, this is a very boring podcast because there's no co-host, and I'm not Bill Burr, so I can't just fucking have off the cuff rants the way Bill Burr does. God damn it, I wish I was Bill Burr, but I got to start somewhere. And yes, I know, Peterson's teeth aren't that much of a pearly white. I mean, like, is he like in his 60s or 70s? It'd be hard for teeth that old to stay that white. I mean, age is a monster. Aging is a monster, and it's slowly killing you. It's like tobacco addiction. It's just slowly killing you, or alcohol addiction is just slowly killing you. But age itself is just inevitable, and it's just slowly killing you. That's why you got to do your best to live. Jocko Willink had like one of his mottos, working out. If it doesn't get old, you won't either. And there's something so truthful to say to that saying. Something so profound about it. Man, his forehead's pretty smooth for an old dude. Look at those wrinkles around the eyes. Look at those wrinkles around his eyes. Eyes. Would it be better if I just like spat some gangster rap? Spat out some verses? Probably not. But thank you, Dr. Peterson. If you ever watch this video, thank you. Your lectures have been a huge help. Your podcast episodes with Joe Rogan have been a huge help. Like, there's not enough thanks I can give you for helping, for just giving me guidance to go down the path that I need to go. Thank you. And as much as like these like it's funny, like there's so many anti-theists, and I am an anti-theist. I do not believe in the existence of God, and I think that dogmatism towards believing in God and the rules that God establishes are extremely dangerous. They're extremely dangerous. But Peterson, and along with Sam Harris, both understand that spirituality is an aspect of the mind, and humans need it. It's not a social construct like fucking like the way a lot of atheists treat religion and spirituality is they treat it like it's like the way SJWs treat gender. They think it's like, oh, it's a social construct, rather than, oh, this is how human brains work, and this is how a human brain is dealing with its own existence, and it's how it's an expression of the mind. Like It's starting to look more like him. Let's see, 40 minutes in. Still hungry. I think I gave my 2 cents on Dr. Peterson and how awesome he is. Anyways, I'm gonna go continue to find food. Bomb, time to eat lunch. Lunch. Where is that thing?